Hi everyone, it's Dave at Stable Vehicle Contracts. Today we are going to have a bit of a review of the driving modes which are available for this, the VW Golf GTE Advance. Now we've come to a bit of a different spot today because we've got a hybrid car, so we thought it'd be nice to come to a bit of woodland area, a bit of green. So we've got the GTE Advance, we've had it for a couple of days now. We've had a little play around with different driving modes, used them all. So in this video we're going to explain the differences between them and then kind of what we think about them. First thing, the first mode we're going to talk about is the E mode, so the 100% electric, which the car will automatically default you into when you turn it on. And the hardest thing I found, or the weirdest thing with driving this hybrid, is when you try to turn it on.
Yeah.
You don't know it's on. Basically, it takes a little bit of getting used to because you're just used to that petrol or diesel engine kicking in at some point when you turn the ignition, and it doesn't happen on this. And the amount of times I've gone, oh, it's not on.
Yeah.
Try again, and then I realise actually it is on. So obviously that'll take a bit of getting used to, but this is it basically. That's on.
Yeah, it's like turning your laptop on, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I guess yes. Good analogy.
Yeah.
Like I say, the car defaults you into electric mode or E mode, and what that is the car is just using 100% the battery engine to power the vehicle. It's a really weird sensation driving the car in electric mode because it's so quiet, but it is really nice because it's just 100% power. There's no like no lag like you get with a petrol or diesel when you're changing gears. It's just constant power.
Yeah. And
it's actually really nice. The only the downside with the GTE is the range. Officially you get 31 miles. I charged it last night. It was on for about 4.5 hours and it would only go up to 27 miles. But we are in the middle of February. It is cold. The battery just doesn't perform as well in the cold. So I was reading a few different forums and stuff last night, and people were saying that in the cold weather they can lose sort of between 15 and 20% of range on any electric car. But yeah, I know I drove it a good 15 miles this morning in electric mode, and then after about 15 miles it said I had about 6 miles of range left. So as we kind of what we'd read and what I'd heard is the GTE, although officially it's got a range of 31 miles, this let me charge up to 27 miles, but in reality you're going to get about a 20-mile range. Listen, if you live 5 miles away from work, then it's that's going to get you there and back. But I don't. I live about 35 miles away from work, so it didn't.
Yep.
But definitely a really nice experience driving in electric mode. Enjoyed it, just wish I had more range. So the next mode is the hybrid mode, and what that does is uses both the battery and the petrol engine to give you effectively optimum performance, is what VW say. And what that means in English is when you're driving the car at low speeds and low revs, it's going to use the battery, and then you get over a certain speed or certain rev and then the 1.4 petrol engine kicks in.
Yep.
And I found that worked really well for me today on my journey into work, where I was getting low on range on the battery side. I was trying to drive as far as I could in with battery, and it was getting low, so I switched to hybrid when I was on the motorway, and obviously it was just using the petrol engine, and then at lower speeds battery would kick in and I was getting a really good MPG. I was getting about 89 miles per gallon on my journey, which is pretty good. How they work that out, it's not 100% accurate, but it's a comparison with all the other manufacturers. It was interesting to switch between the two on my journey and trying to get, you know, the highest MPG I could. next mode is the battery hold, which is a little bit of a weird one. I'm not entirely sure what circumstances you'd want to use this for, really. So I don't know if anyone has done that and they use this mode regularly, or they know why it's there. Drop us a comment and let us know, because I'm not entirely sure myself. Basically, what battery hold mode is where you're telling the vehicle, don't touch the battery, leave it in the state of charge that it's in, don't give it any more charge, don't take any charge away from it, just leave it. And you're using purely the petrol engine. The only thing I can think of as to why you'd want to do that is if you were, for example, going into London, into the city centre, where it's, you know, they want you to be driving around in a battery car.
Yeah.
Then, and you're not going to have enough range to get you there, you can hold it off till you get to that zone and then flip it into electric and you've got the range. If I own this car, if this car was my daily driver, where I'd use that.
Yeah.
Next mode is the battery charge mode, and again, bit of an interesting one. I almost feel it's a little bit pointless. And what this does is, if you're like we are, really low on battery, you split the power between from the petrol engine between driving the vehicle and generating power for the battery. So a certain percentage goes to driving the car, and a certain percentage then gets pushed into the battery to regenerate it. And we did this yesterday, actually, didn't we? And we drove about 20 miles.
Yep.
We got about 10 miles of range, but we pulled our MPG down to
about 19 or something.
23, I think, 22, something like that. Really low. So, like you said, is although you're generating yourself more battery to use, how much is that costing you in fuel to get there? And bear in mind, this thing costs 85 pence to charge fully.
It would probably be cheaper to just pull over and charge the battery off.
The only argument with that would be is this takes at quickest between 2 and 3 hours to charge.
Yeah. If the battery's dead, I'll just use the engine.
You'd have to be pretty desperate to go, well, I'm going to sacrifice that sort of MPG to give myself some more battery. So we saved the funnest mode to last. I think that's fair to say.
Yep.
And that's the GTE mode. Similar to hybrid, where it's using both the battery and the petrol, but the hybrid uses one or the other. The GTE mode, power from the battery and the petrol together is pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's 0 to 62 in 7.6 seconds. As quick as the GTI for the first 30 mile.
Yeah.
Apparently so. I've driven it a little bit in GTE, and it was fun. It definitely puts a smile on your face.
Yeah. But
then you see your battery going down very, very quickly. It's almost on like a tick over. It's just going down, down, down like that. So you wouldn't want to drive it in GTE mode too often, because you're kind of defeating the purpose of having a hybrid car.
It's like having a GTR that can only do 10 miles.
Pretty much.
And then you've got to pull over and fill the tank back up.
Yeah. The interesting thing I found driving this, and only for a day or so, is that I've become very conscious on like driving style in order to get my MPG up as high as I can.
Yeah.
You kind of like, I mean, that might wear off, I don't know, after you've driven the car for a couple of months or it becomes your daily driver, I don't know, but I'm just like very keen to maximise the range on the car. But on reflection of driven this car for a little bit longer now, it is a really nice car to drive. If you're doing a reasonably low mileage, it is a good alternative to a petrol or diesel. The reason this car hasn't become more popular is because of the cost. So if you looked at, say, like a Lease comparison, this car is a lot more expensive, GT, than a 1.6 diesel Golf. So you're either you're gonna pay more money to get this, so you can tick a box and say I'm doing my bit for the environment. Or you can tick a box to say, I'm an early adopter of the electric vehicle.
Yep.
Or you tick in the box to say, I'm actually going to save a load of money on the company car tax. But what I'd like to have seen VW do is make this a similar price to a Golf 1.6 diesel. The more of these electric cars they produce, the cheaper the technology is going to become for them. 2040's is coming, and you will not be able to buy a new petrol or diesel car in the UK from that point. So they need to get their act together, really. And these sort of cars that they've been out for a couple of years now could have sped up the momentum, really. They kind of just seem to be doing it just so they say, I've got an electric car, I've got a hybrid car in the range. They don't seem to be taking it particularly seriously for me.
I wonder if they're keeping the electric cars expensive for as long as possible to try and recoup the cost of developing the battery tech, because they will have lost a lot of money developing the battery tech.
It's like anything with technology, the more you produce of it, the production costs come down. So that was our 2 pennies worth on the different driving modes for the VW Golf GTE Advance. Let us know what you think. Have your say in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon for the next video.